What is more valuable, having a large amount of capital or strong quality relationships, especially in business? Well, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I want to share with you a very valuable perspective that helps you gain influence, produce longevity, and ultimately take you to the next level. You'll notice that there's certain prominent families in your region or community. These families are historically prominent and they have been key to the development of your community. If you're a small business and you want to gain status and influence in that community, you can very often model the behavior of these individuals and very quickly move up the social status ladder. Now, the mistake a lot of people make is they kiss the ass of these families and they try to weasel their way in to be the support of those families by name only, rather than delivering clear and massive value. So one of the reasons that my business serves high income professionals and high net worth individuals is because I'm collecting and curating the methods that they used to get into that high status position. Now, many of these individuals only have money. They have no influence in their community. If they had to raise money for a nonprofit or they had a pet cause in their community, they would have trouble getting a group of people together. The reason why is because they haven't invested in the right connections. Now, again, this is not the right people. These are connections. It could be making a commitment to do only business in their local area. So they're out there trying to gather support for a project, or they've started a new business and they haven't already invested in the existing businesses that are there. Now, I have the challenge where I might hire a local contractor and they screw up the job. Now, I don't care if that local contractor is the prominent family. I'll give them a chance and they screw up the job. You can't accept poor services. That's not how you level up. So I will go out of the region and hire somebody who I know can do the work. They'll come in, they'll do the work. I might even pay a premium. And then I've even had the case where the local business now gets pissed off because I didn't hire local. Now, you can't, it's nepotism to go and hire the local guy just because you're trying to make connections. Okay, so in my rental properties, I've spent $30,000 in the last probably 2 or 3 years with plumbing, electric, and that kind of thing. I chose a larger city contractor who had employees locally and ultimately did business with them, because hiring a plumber, hiring an electrician, hiring an HVAC guy, all separate, those companies just weren't reliable in my local area. But they're owned by prominent family names. Now, just because somebody has a prominent family name doesn't mean they have any influence in the community or they have any value in what they're delivering as services. But ultimately, I did try them out because I wanted to make those connections. I wanted to find out who's who and who's doing what, and I've heard the names and they just happen to be attached to the companies. Well, they overcharged me, they didn't provide quality service, so I can't serve them in the sense of being their client. And I know that sounds a little weird, but if you're doing business with people, you're making a choice, and you're making a choice for reasons, and my reasons were to find out who's who and integrate in the community. But ultimately, they didn't hold up their end of the bargain, so I booted them out. There's also conditions where there's prominent families that argue with each other. So again, you don't want to get in the middle of that crap. You don't want to be involved. What you want to do is be your own person. Okay, don't be petting around and trying to, off the coattails of the big family. But you do want to be aware of who the families are and their interconnections. And if the local guy, if the current family generation, who may have inherited millions of dollars, is not in a position to do good, you can look at their historic families. But you also want to learn from how they were profitable. So a region changes over time, and you can understand the history of the region by looking at the prominent families and how they gained their levels of success. But nearly every one of these families wants what's better for their community. They long for the past and the successes they had in the past, because again, if there was a prominent grandparent and they were very wealthy and they had 10 grandkids, and those, when they died, they spread the money out to 10 people, the wealth is now spread out. So they might have a prominent family name, but they may not have the legacy because of how they planned the estates, or because there was infighting. There's a lot of controversy. Well, the big thing you got to do is stay out of all this drama. Just stay out of the drama. In fact, this isn't about you benefiting from them. It's about you finding your place in the community as an influencer, as somebody who creates value, as somebody who delivers outcomes, and that's more important. So again, I don't make the mistake of trying to kiss ass to the family. I don't know any other way of saying it, but you do want some reciprocal value. So if their businesses are not delivering, you don't keep working with them just because they're the local family and you hope, dream, and one day that they'll bless you. You create a blessing in your own activities. You invite these folks in to be a part of what you're doing. And if they're quality, you cultivate that quality. You learn from their history. Hey, tell me a little bit about this area. I understand your family was in the furniture business back in the day. Oh, tell me. Let them be a curator of their experiences, but you're doing this to learn. You're not doing this to pump up their ego so that you can, get in with the family. You ultimately want the outcome, not this shallow relationship. And then when you find the high quality people, then you start building the relationship with reciprocal value. You start building the relationship by being reliable to them. You start, patronizing their quality businesses, give them feedback when the businesses fall short, and ultimately be your own pillar of the community. See, a community stands not on the pillars that are historical, but they stand on all the pillars that come in over time. And as an old building needs repairs, you are going to find your place in that community. Now, if you don't connect locally, you will have day-to-day problems because there are shallow... I'm going to get myself in trouble for this video, by the way, because in my local community, there are shallow relationships that are on name only, and they do favors for each other. They do under-the-table deals, they do backroom deals and stuff like that, and they don't like outsiders. There's a us versus them mentality. The reason you're becoming an insider is because you want to reduce the amount of friction when you have your own projects. So you are identifying the prominent families, you're testing them, you're collecting the valuable ones, and then you're ultimately learning how they became successful so that when you mimic historical behaviors that are still relevant for today, people will recognize this and they'll start seeing you as the prominent person, even if that prominent family is no longer valuable to the community. You'll start building up your business. You'll start building up business relationships. You'll have good reciprocal value. So you're not trying to dethrone somebody. You're legitimately trying to deliver value to them. But if they don't have the reciprocal relationship, then you are... It's kind of like making a list of your top 10 friends and making sure that you're doing really good by your top 10 friends before you ask anything of them. So what this does is it sets up some psychological connections. First off, they're going to see in you the historical behavior they know made their grandparents successful. They don't need to reveal their current financial situation. Like I said, when a patriarch dies, they spread the money out, and a lot of times these kids don't have the skills. But you could be in a situation where you could help that family get to their historical prominence again because you're demonstrating behaviors that have elevated you in the local community. You're still being your own person, but you're cultivating a handful of really valuable relationships. And you're going to find out these people are great people. They've had challenges and struggles. They're just like anybody else. But ultimately, there's a local connection. Now, the value of the local connection is that every dollar you spend in your local community tends to cycle through the community. So if you are, if you find a good plumber or a good electrician and you're referring them out, they may not recognize it at all, but at least you know that they're creating jobs for your neighbors. So there's some economic value there. Anyway, I just wanted to cover this because too often I see folks kissing ass and just kissing up to the top names in the community. But again, those names come and go. There's nothing wrong with your name being the next name, and family legacies move forward. But the better you understand the legacy, the better you can understand why the community functions a certain way, the better you can build out the relationships necessary, and then you can get 10, 15 really strong relationships, improve your quality of life, improve the community that you live in, and be able to function more smoothly in your local environment. Now, this doesn't matter if you do business nationwide or globally. You still want your strong community, because that's your last line of defense as far as outside influences. So if a big company comes in and tries to leverage your community, I see this a lot of times. The family names, the big prominent people, they don't want to sell land because they don't want Walmart coming into town. If Walmart wants to come into town, they'll just come into town. They don't really need your permission. I know it feels that they need your permission, but they don't. And if you lock up property, then you're really stagnating the local economics. We can talk about that at another time. But again, I wanted to make sure you understood. You don't need to be a little lapdog to the prominent families, because they're not usually as strong as they used to be. You want to find the new prominents. You want to find the kids that are taking it to the next level, that are honoring the legacy of their family. You want to make sure you got quality services. You can expand your horizons beyond your own neighborhood, and really move a wide range. But if you know your neighbors and you have good relationships with your neighbors, your life will be better. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I want to thank you for watching. We have more podcast, membership site, newsletter, all that stuff at www.insidestrategicrelations.com. But you don't have to be a member to ask questions. Simply go to www.insidestrategicrelations.com and go to the contact page and just contact us and ask your questions. I'd love to hear from you. I love to hear about your success stories. Thanks for watching. I'm here to help high-income professionals, high-net worth individuals transform business relationships into profits. And those profits include actual relationships, friendliness, reciprocal value, neighbors helping neighbors, as well as monetary profits. Thanks for watching.